everyone. Today we're going to make a really cute, fun, super easy, quick workup scarf. You can use this as a traditional bandana on your head, or you can use it as a super cute little hip scarf. I've made one with a nice pico edge and fine weight cotton yarn, and this one still in the cotton yarn, still in a fine weight, but just with a chain border, which is actually one of the pattern repeat rows. So no extra work to create this border here. Either way, they're both super cute, and you can use them in a lot of creative ways, whether it's on your head or on your hip. So let's jump right into the tutorial. For this project, you'll need some fine weight yarn. I've used a 1 weight, and this is the Cotton Collage by Premier. Really nice, very fine weight yarn. It will give the scarves a nice little drape. With that yarn, I have used a 4mm crochet hook. You'll also need scissors and a yarn needle. I'm going to show you how to do the 2 different versions. One version has a sort of a chain stitch for the border, and that would be your last round. It's actually one of the rows of the pattern repeat, so you would just finish off with that particular row before you start on the straps. For the second version, we're going to add a little pico stitch at the end, so you would work the pico stitch and then come up and work the straps. I'm going to show you how to do both versions. So grab your hook, grab some yarn, and we'll start making the crochet hip scarf. For this particular tutorial, I'm using a little bit of a thicker yarn that isn't variegated, just so you can see the stitches a little bit better. This is just a basic stitch Lion brand. It's a 4-weight yarn, so it is quite a bit thicker than what I used for the original scarf, but I wanted to make sure that you could see the stitches. You're welcome to use whatever yarn and hook size that you want. You'll just have to kind of play with the size of your hook and how many rows that you want to do to create the overall size that you want. We're going to start by working a center of clusters and then work out in a V shape. And again, you can work as many rows as you want for the length and the overall size that you want for your scarf. We're going to start with a magic ring. If you don't like the magic ring, you can always start with a chain 3 or 4 and join in that first slip stitch. I'm going to chain 4 to start. I'm going to work 3 double crochets right into that ring. So now we've got our chain 4 and then 3 double crochets all worked into that ring. I'm going to chain 3, and this is our corner. So this chain 3 is what is going to start creating that point at our V. We're going to work 3 more double crochets right back into that ring. So we've got our chain 4, 3 double crochets, chain 3, 3 double crochets, all worked into this ring. To end, we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to work a treble. So you yarn over twice and then go into that ring and work your treble off your hook. Close the ring. If you've done the chain 4 slip stitch to create your ring, make sure you work over that tail and close it up as much as possible. And that is the start. We're going to work rows 1 through 3 to set up the pattern repeat, and then it's an easy 2-row repeat from there on out. So for row 2, we're going to start with a chain 4. Turn your work. We're going to work in that first space. We're going to work 3 double crochets. we've got our 3 double crochets into that first chain 1 space. Chain 1, we're going to jump to our chain 3 space, and we're going to work 3 double crochet, chain 3, 3 double crochet, all into that same chain 3 space. So I'm working my 3 double crochets. I'm going to go ahead and chain 3, and then I'm going to put 3 more double crochets right into that same chain 3 space, and that will create our V for row 2. Chain 1 into this space here. Remember, this was our chain 4. It counted as a double crochet chain 1, so that is a chain 1 space right there. We're going to work 3 double crochets into that space. Chain 1, and then in the top of the 3rd chain, so as close as you can get, 1, 2, you can kind of just guesstimate wherever you can find a good spot to go in. Work a double crochet into the top of your turning chain. And that is row 2. So you can see our V is forming. For row 3, I'm going to go ahead and chain 4. That counts as my double crochet chain 1. Turn your work into that first space, work 3 double crochets. Chain 1. We're going to move to our next space and work 3 double crochets into that space. Chain 1. We're now at our chain 3 space, so in the chain 3 space we work 3 double crochet, chain 3, 3 double crochet, all into that same space. So there's my first 3 double crochets into that space, chain 3, and then 3 double crochet into the same space. Chain 1, move to the next space, work 3 double crochet into that space. Chain 1. There's our last space. We're going to work our 3 double crochet into that space. Chain 1, and then a double crochet into the top of that turning chain. Should be the 3rd chain up to finish row 3. Rows 4 and 5 are going to be your pattern repeat. Row 4 will always start with a chain 6. And turn your work right into that first chain 1 space. We're going to work a single crochet, chain 5, jump to the next chain space, single crochet in the next space, chain 5, single crochet in the next space, chain 5. At your chain 3 space, we're going to work a single crochet into that space, chain 5, and a single crochet right back into that same space. Down the other side, we're going to work a chain 5, jump to the next space and work a single crochet into that space, chain 5, jump to the next space, single crochet into that space, chain 5, single crochet into that first space here, and to finish the row we're going to chain 3, and then we're going to work a treble into that third chain. So find that third chain, 1, 2, right about here, and work your treble. And that finishes row 4. For row 5, and this is the second row of the pattern repeat, we're going to chain 4, turn our work, and into the first chain 5 space we're going to work 3 double crochet, chain 1, move to the next chain 5 and work 3 double crochet, chain 1, move to the next chain 5 space and work your 3 double crochets, chain 1, find the next chain 5 and work your 3 double crochets, chain 1. Now we're at the top. If you have trouble remembering which is your like V stitches, which is your that corner middle stitch, you can always put a stitch marker into that stitch as you're working the pattern. That way whenever you get to your stitch marker, you know to work either the 3 double crochet, chain 3, 3 double crochet into that space, or your single crochet, chain 5, single crochet into that space. You can always find the center here and then just follow those spaces up. There's my middle, so I need to work my 3 double crochet, chain 3, 3 double crochet all into that same space. There's my chain 3, and then I'm going to go ahead and work 3 more double crochets into that same space, and that will always give you that peak of your V or your triangle, that pointy end. Chain 1, find the next space, work 3 double crochets into that space, chain 1, find the next space, and work 3 double crochets into it, chain 1, next space, 3 double crochets, chain 1, and into that last chain space we want our 3 double crochet, chain 1, and then work a treble into the top of the third stitch, or your turning chain, as close as you can get. Sometimes those chains on the end are a little bit hard to count or to see. And that is how it's looking. So we have rows 1, 2, and 3, which are just the double crochets. Our row 4 are these chain 5s, and then row 5 is another row of double crochets. So you want to repeat rows 4 and 5 over and over and over until you get a desired size for your scarf. If you want the sort of that chain 5 stitch on the end to be your last round. If you like that look, you would work rows 4 and 5 over and over and over again until you get that size. Just end on a row 4. If you want the picot, you're going to want to end on a row 5, which is like we've done right here. For the picot border, we're going to start with a chain 1 and turn. And we're working down to get to our point here. I'm going to work a single crochet in that very first stitch. I'm going to work a single crochet in that space. You just want to evenly work your single crochets. So here's my next stitch. I'm going to work a single crochet into that stitch. And there's my middle of those 3. So in every middle double crochet of the 3, you're going to work a picot. So here's my middle. This next stitch is that middle stitch. I'm going to go ahead and work a single crochet into it. We're going to chain 3. And then for our picot, I'm going to come back and I'm going to go through this bar. So it's not really a stitch. It's going to be that base bar down here and then into the one right next to it. And I'm going to slip stitch. And then into that same middle double crochet, I'm going to work one more single crochet. And that gives us a nice little picot right there. I'm going to work a single crochet into the next stitch, and then a single crochet in that chain space, and a single crochet in the next stitch. We're at our middle double crochet, so we're going to work a picot, which is a single crochet, chain 3, and then working into the base of that chain 3, those bars right there. I'm just going to work a slip stitch and then a single crochet right into that same stitch to create our little picot. So you're just going to work this all the way down, working 3 single crochets in between your picot. There's my third. I'm at the middle double crochet, so I can work a picot. So single crochet, chain 3, slip stitch, and single crochet into that same stitch, and then 3 single crochets, or a single crochet in the next 3 stitches. And those spaces, those chain 1 spaces, do count as a stitch. I'm at my next middle double crochet. Let's work a picot. So single crochet, chain 3, slip stitch, and single crochet. So you're going to work this all the way down the side of your scarf, and I will meet you right here at that corner stitch. I've just worked a picot into the last set of 3 double crochets. Here's my center right here. I'm going to go ahead and work a single crochet in the next stitch. We're going to work 2 single crochets, chain 3, and then do our picot. So slip stitch in those bars, and then 2 single crochets in that same chain 3 space, and that'll give us our middle very point picot. And now we can continue. So a single crochet in the next, and then here's our first middle stitch of that first set of double crochets. So I'm going to work my picot. So single crochet, chain 3, picot, slip stitch in those bars, and then single crochet in the same space or chain stitch, one of those, and then single crochet in the next, and then just keep repeating single crochet until you get to that middle double crochet. Work your picot and continue on. Every middle double crochet gets the picot stitch, and I'll meet you at the end down here. I've just worked my last picot. I've got another stitch, so I'm going to work my single crochet into that stitch, a single crochet into that space, and a single crochet in the top of the turning chain, or as close to the top of that turning chain as you can get. And that finishes that picot border. If you ended on a row 4, you're just kind of waiting for us to get back to this point. We're going to now work the straps. The straps are just a chain for as many chains or as length that you want. For these particular scarves, I chained 100 because this is very fine yarn. You need to chain a lot more to get a lot more length. For this one, I'm just going to chain a few just to kind of give you the idea of how to work the straps. So we're just gonna chain however many for the length that you want. Once you have that length, you're gonna just slip stitch back into the first chain and slip stitch into every chain all the way back down until you get to the base where you started. There we go. So that's kind of what your chain will look like once you've slip stitched all the way back down. What we're going to do now is evenly work single crochets all the way across. So this part is the same regardless of the style that you're doing. If you ended on the row 4, you would just start your strap right away and you would do the same thing. Just chain your length and slip stitch back down, and now we're all going to be working a single crochet to kind of finish this edge off. So I just like to evenly space my single crochets all the way down, and I try to find stitches where I can go through both loops of the stitch. When you get to these double crochet or the chain on the end, I like to go into the actual stitches, those chains, instead of the spaces, but whatever works for you. And we're just going to keep doing that all the way down this edge. And you can see it kind of finishes that edge off, gives it a nice look at the top. Sometimes it's hard to find a good spot to go into, but just try to evenly space those single crochets all the way down as evenly as possible. Here is my center, and this one is a little bit tricky to work into because it's kind of tight. I like to work right in the center of our ring right there for my single crochet, but sometimes it's a little bit too difficult to actually get into that stitch or that ring. And then I like to try to work over my tail if possible. Sometimes that's easier said than done. And if it's too hard to get into those chains on the end, you can always work into those spaces too. I'm working right back up to the other side now. And I'm going to go right into that very first kind of stitch on the very end, and now I can start my second strap. So again, we just chain whatever length that you did for your first chain. So when you're working that chain, make sure you write down how many chains that you did on that first side so you know exactly how many to do on the second strap. So whatever that number is, you just chain that number, and then again, we just slip stitch back all the way back down that chain. You want to try not to get your chain twisted. It's super hard to not have it twist up, especially when you are working with so many chains, but do your best. If it twists a little bit, it's okay. You can kind of twist it back and make it work. There's our second strap, and then I'm just going to slip stitch where I started chaining out of, and I can fasten off, and that is how you make the scarf. These are super easy, super fast, 2-row repeat once you get that first 3 rows done, and they look cute with the picot or without. I hope you like this tutorial. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.